Hey guys, it's Drea. Today I have for you my recent drugstore favorites, and these are actually legit favorites. I have been wanting to film this video for at least like a month and a half. This is all stuff that I've kind of purchased in the winter time and have been using for a while, or been gifted in the case of some things. And I've just been obsessing over these products, and some of them are new to me. I want to say maybe like one thing is an older thing, but most of them are like brand new to me recently, and I just think they are fantastic. I've been using them all for a really long time now, at least a couple months. I want to get some housekeeping out of the way, so if you don't like long intros, I will put the time of when I actually start talking about the favorites. Let's just say a few things. Number one, I know the audio issues have been a problem for a lot of you. It's the freaking fish tank, and I thought moving my whole setup, like, what are we, like 30 feet over, would be a solution to that problem, but apparently it wasn't. And so I think the only solution is to just unplug the fish tank when I film. That's the only thing that is gonna make that water noise go away. And I'm sorry that so many of you were annoyed by it, but you know what? This is real life. I'm not a professional YouTuber. This is my hobby. So thank you for bearing with it though. That will be done with. I even put like a little post-it note right there, unplug the fish tank, so that I don't forget when I'm filming. And also, here is my Inkbox tattoo. So it's not even been a full week of wearing this, and I do feel like it's faded quite a bit. It just looks like an old tattoo now, which is still cool. Like I like the idea of these. If you don't know, I kind of talked about it on my Instagram. I got an Inkbox tattoo just to try it out. They didn't sponsor this at all. Like I actually purchased it with my own money. I designed this tattoo with their custom thing. It was a very interesting experience. I actually bruised my arm putting pressure on it, because you have to hold the sticker thing for like 15 minutes. That bruise is still there like a week later. But I do really like it. I've of course showered, washed my hands many times, moisturized it, and it's lasted this long for a week. So who knows where we'll be a week from now. I'll just update you guys on my Instagram, although this might be up after it's even faded, who knows. Also, somebody is like using a saw outside right now, so I don't know. Anyways, let's get into the drugstore favorites now. I'm trying to wear as many of these on my face as I possibly can today. So let's start with foundation. I have been dying loving this stick foundation, and I hate stick foundations. And this one is just so good. This is the Makeup Revolution Fast Based Stick Foundation. Mine is in the shade F6. I've been using this a ton since I got it. There's actually, I guess, a lot of product in here, and you don't seem to need a lot. Like I always feel like I put on, I just kind of swipe it all over my face, and I always feel like maybe I even use a little bit too much. Like I don't even need to use as much as I do. So I feel like this is gonna last a really long time. It's very full coverage, but at the same time, I feel very perfected. Like I feel like my base makeup always looks really just like photoshopped when I wear this. I think it's the full coverage aspect, but at the same time, I feel like it's very moisturizing. It's not very thick. It really blends into the skin really well, and I've just been loving it. I love the effect that it gives. That being said, with oily skin like I have, I can't wear this all day to work, so I only ever wear this on a short day, if I'm filming, if I'm just going out at night, that kind of thing, because I will get super oily with this foundation, and that's not the best for oily skin. You know, you don't want to be oily, you don't want it to break down at all, so I really can't wear it. I wear my makeup at least 12 to 13, maybe sometimes 14 to 15 hours if I'm going to work that day. And so I can't do that with this, but I still love it. I still think it's such a good foundation, such a good affordable foundation. It just looks so pretty on the skin. So if you have more like normal skin, I think it would be really good. I don't know how dry skin people feel about stick foundations in general. I don't think it's overly hydrating. I just think it's like regular amount of hydration in this stick foundation, if that makes sense. But I just love the effect it gives, the full coverage yet still perfected, and I still think somewhat skin-like effect, which I really love. Okay, there's gonna be a couple highlighters mentioned in this video. Let's start with the ones that I'm wearing right now. I love Colourpop. I love their eyeshadows. I love their eyeshadow palettes. I love their single eyeshadows. You guys know that, and it took a long time. I don't know why. It took a really long time for me to purchase the highlighters. These are the Super Shock Cheek Highlighters from Colourpop. I have here On the Cusp, which is the one in the blue packaging, and then Flexatarian, which is I think probably their most famous. I actually think On the Cusp is my favorite out of the two. It's not as bright, even though I love bright highlighters, but it's just a little bit more natural for my skin tone. So what I'm actually doing today is I'm wearing this kind of all over, and then I just put a touch of Flexatarian like right as a pop in the middle of my cheek. And I have been loving these. I didn't realize that these are like a cream. So they, I guess, would be described as a powder to cream formula because they get really wet when you actually dip into them. There is On the Cusp right there. And this one is Flexatarian. Look at that. It's insanity. I don't understand. So good. So they're very creamy. I actually do apply them with my fingers, and then I will go over with like a little bit more of a dense brush. Today I use this one, which is the Sephora Pro Mini 55.5, which I think actually is a foundation brush, but it has a little bit of give to it. It's still firm, it has a little bit of give. So I just buffed it a little bit with that, which, you know, because I don't want something too light that's not going to blend in, but I don't want something super dense that's going to take my foundation off when I'm buffing in a cream product. So I think like a firm but loose at the same time kind of brush, it really gives you that blending effect for something like this, where it actually is not just a stripe on your cheek, it actually is kind of blended into the skin. But I am so impressed with these. I love the way they look. I don't even like cream highlighters or cream products in general for the most part, but these ones I think are fantastic. I can't believe it took me so long to try them out, and now I want more. That's all, it always happens that way with me. I always just want more and more and more makeup. Just give me all the makeup, you know? Since we're talking about cream highlighters, let's also talk about these. These are the Physicians Formula Butter Highlighters. These are so similar in formula to those Colourpop ones. I don't necessarily think you need both. So depending on how easily you can access either Physicians Formula or Colourpop, I think you could go for one or the other. I don't think you need both, but I do love both. So this one here is the Butter Highlighter in the shade Champagne, which is really a misnomer. It should be called Gold. This is not a champagne color. This is gold. And I would say this is almost a little bit creamier than those, but that might, it could be because I've been using this longer. I've been using this a ton. Like, this was in my project pan for a month, and look how worn down it is. I used it a ton. So this is the shade Champagne, but look how like much more of a deep gold that is. So when I say they're similar, I'm talking much more in terms of formula, not necessarily color. This one though is in the shade Pearl, and I've never swatched this next to Flexatarian, but let's do that now because I want to see how similar they are. Yeah, I'm gonna put it right beside so we can kind of look closely. So here's Pearl right there. Yeah, I think Flexatarian is a little bit more bright, but Pearl is still also very bright as well. So clearly both of these formulas are not going to be for the faint of heart when it comes to highlighter. This is gonna be for those of us that love a shocking, blinding highlight, and that's exactly what you're gonna get with both of those. I wanna talk about two things from BH Cosmetics. These are both tools. I consider both of these things tools. Sneak peek. And I just think it's good to talk about this kind of stuff sometimes because makeup is fun, but tools really help us get the job done. This is the Base Booster. It's the Glitter and Shadow Glue from BH Cosmetics. So I was actually using Too Faced actual glitter glue for a long time until it actually went bad. And it took a long time for it to go bad, but it did eventually. And I thought I would give a more cheaper alternative a try. This is, I want to say less than $8. I definitely got it on sale. This stuff is intense. This is like, it's like Too Faced glitter glue, but even stickier and even tackier. When I first tried this without knowing, I put this all over my lid because I think I was gonna do like a glitter cut crease or something, and my eyelid was sticking to the top of it, like it was sticking. And I was like, oh, this is not good. So I learned how to use it. You don't need a lot. I just squeeze it out in the back of my hand, take like something like a MAC 242, a synthetic brush, and apply it, and then put whatever shadow on top. Now, this is really good for actual glitter. It's good for adhering things like, some people have fallout with the steel glitter glows. I never really do, but still, if you are, that would be another good thing to put underneath. But this is also just good for those like chunky eyeshadows that have glitter in them, or even metallic ones that you're like, I just wanted to pop a little bit more. This is a really good product. So I was super impressed. Something so cheap worked so well. And I'm not gonna lie, I actually purchased this next product with the anticipation that I would hate it and that I would be able to tell you that I regretted buying it, or like, don't buy this thing, because sponges are a thing that are either like super great or terrible, right? And I don't know why. I expected BH to make bad sponges. I don't know why. They make great everything else. Why did I expect that? Anyways, this sponge, I took it out to use it the other day, and you know when you put a sponge under the water and sometimes they puff up nice and like fluffy and soft and huge, and then some of them don't even puff up at all. This one started getting larger and softer in my hand, and I was just like, it's so good. And by the way, that was like, don't clip that little clip out and like use it for bad purposes, because I just realized how that sounded. Anyways, this is the BH Studio Pro Perfecting Sponge. So it came in this little box, but look how big it gets. I don't have two to show you it before. This is the after. And I did use it today, so it's dirty. But look, this is so bouncy and soft. I just love it so much. It's basically a really good dupe for the Loreal sponge, which I also love. Although the Loreal sponge is a good cost alternative to a beauty blender, it's still expensive for drugstore. And I wanna say this was like $8 US originally. And of course, wait for a BH sale when they're doing like 40% off their whole website. I am going to repurchase this. I'm gonna buy a ton of them for backups. It's so soft, but not only like is it big and like bouncy, but the texture is smooth. It's so smooth and nice. I just love the way this applies foundation. I've been using this to death. It is almost a little bit too big for under the eye, and I think I might have to just discontinue using it under my eye just because it's too large to get in there. Like, it's just a little too big, even though it is pointed. But for all over the rest of the face, I think it's amazing and I love it to death. Okay, these lashes I have repurchased and repurchased. I might have put them in my favorites before, but I don't care. I'm gonna talk about them again because these are now my favorite eyelashes of all time. All time. There's no question. These are the Kiss Lash Couture Faux Mink collection. These are the ones called Gala. These are the ones I'm wearing. This is a backup. I have another. I have like 4 pairs of these now because I just wait till there's like a sale on Kiss lashes and I just buy another one. Like, I just keep purchasing these because I just don't want to ever be without it. And they have other ones in this collection. I think they have one called like Little Black Dress and Midnight. I have a few of them, but these ones are my favorite. So you can see just how big and voluminous these are. When I first purchased them, I was actually a little bit scared that they were gonna be too much, but they are too much and I love it. So yeah, these are the ones I'm wearing. They're super soft. They are so voluminous. I love how they just whoop. They got that little whoop, and they just take any look from like pretty to like over the top. I think these are just over the top, amazing, gorgeous lashes. This is such a good little gem, and I never expected to love it as much as I did, but this is the Covergirl Peach Punch blush. I don't know how many of these they make, but this is the one in the color Peach Punch, and this is the blush I'm wearing today. This is what I started reaching for. Like, this became the product that I would reach for when I didn't know what blush to use. So here's a swatch of it. It's a little bit powdery, like you can see. There's like quite a bit of kickback when I even just swatch it. So that's a heavy swatch. Now watch, this is my blush brush that I use every day. If I just tap in it, look how much comes off on there. Like, it seems like a ton, but it's not. It just easily like blends into the skin, and it's not too much, which I love because blush can be really tough that way. Blush can be like, oh my God, what did I just do to my face? And especially because it's one of the last steps for a lot of us, it's like you've gone too far, like you can't go back, right? So I always love a blush where you can apply it and you're not going overboard. But beyond that, I think the tone of it is just so perfectly neutrally peach. It's not, I don't know, it's not too much. It never clashes with my eye look. It just looks good with everything. Okay, I have 2 concealers here. One that I really, really love, and one that I like, but it kind of got edged out. So let's start with the like. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear More Than Concealer. I don't know why it's called More Than Concealer. It's just a concealer. Like, I guess you could use it for contouring, but we do that anyway with concealer. Anyways, this has a huge, huge applicator. The applicator has a little dip in it, so it actually kind of collects product right on the end, which is kind of nice. I love the applicator. I think it works really well. This is a very full coverage concealer. It almost like surprises me every time I put it on, and you can use a little bit too much sometimes, but I think it's really good for being full coverage. This is like pretty much, if you like Tarte Shape Tape, you will like this. It's very similar in texture, in coverage, in tones, very, very similar. So it's a nice alternative to Tarte Shape Tape because it's at the drugstore. That being said, this does get a little dry on me after a few hours. And if you are wearing makeup for more than a few hours, it might be a little too drying, especially because for a lot of us, under the eye is the most dry place on our face, especially for me. So this one I actually purchased after, and this one became like so much better to me, and I love this. I will always reach for this first. This is the Milani Conceal and Perfect Longwear Concealer. I think this one is so good. So it has all the great attributes that the L'Oreal one has. It's full coverage, it covers everything, it's easily blendable, it just kind of melds into my skin. The applicator is, I think, even a little bit better. It's tiny, it's much smaller, but it's flat. And I always love a flat concealer applicator because it just allows me to like wipe it a little bit easier. Not the biggest deal, but I like the applicator a lot. But this one is much more hydrating. So this one works so much better for me under the eye in terms of wearing it for a long day, which I do. And this is the concealer that I'm wearing today. So what I'm wearing on my lips, Alex introduced me to because she gave these to me for Christmas. Actually, she gave me a third one as well, which is in my purse because I love it and I carry it around. So these are the Milani Keep It Full Nourishing Lip Plumpers. And I've actually heard a few people talk about these recently, which is great because the word is getting out. This is the one I'm wearing today. I really just love how this is kind of like holographic, but just like glossy, neutral on the lips. It's called Moonlight. This one here, actually I'm gonna put on a little bit more. Just because I've been talking for a while, so you can kind of see like, this is how it looks when it's first applied. They do last long enough for a gloss, like they'll last about an hour-ish on the lips. I particularly like this one because I think it has this kind of like purpley holographic tinge to it. So that's that one. This one is called Champagne. This one has the tiniest little kind of goldy flecks in it, but not like much at all. It's just a very kind of neutrally peach one. I think this product is a really good alternative to the Fenty Gloss Bomb, which I just went through all of my Fenty Glow recently. It's gone. And then this one is in the shade Fussy. I love this formula. It's such a great glossy gloss. Like, it's comfortable. It's like, just makes your lips look juicy and wet, and that's exactly also what these do, and that's why I think I love them so much. This one has a very minty feel, and it's a little bit cooling. I actually don't normally like that kind of thing on my lips. I really don't like the Buxom glosses. Not a fan. I don't own any of them because I don't like that burning, cooling, like, I don't know, I don't like that feeling on my lips, but this doesn't bother me. This is just a little bit cooling. It's a little bit like, I can feel it. It's not tingly per se, but it's a little bit cooling, and I do really I like it. I actually enjoy it. So that's something, because I don't normally. Okay, I want to talk about what's on my eyes, because there's not a lot of eyeshadow here, as you can tell. Not that I haven't been loving drugstore or affordable brands for eyeshadow. I actually have. I have been reaching for affordable brands almost more so than anything high-end in my collection, but I actually want to do a completely different video about just eyeshadow palettes. So the only thing I'm going to talk about here is a couple shades from this line that I have been loving. This is from Essence. These are the Melted Chrome eyeshadows. These showed up in the drugstore very recently. I'm wearing this shade in the middle of my halo eye today, called Ironic. I love this shade. This is a little bit more of a taupe. These are kind of a bouncy feeling formula, so they're, I don't want to call them cream, but they're definitely got that little bit of creaminess to them. So this one is in the shade Ironic. This I applied with my finger. I have tried even like a MAC 242, and you're not gonna get the same effect that you will with the fingers. I've used this mainly just like in the center of my lid or as my lid shade, and I apply it with the finger. These last all day long. Like, they are intense at the beginning of the day and they last all day long, which I was so impressed with, because especially with eyeshadow, especially I wanna say with more drugstore eyeshadow, why can't I get you open? I have more trouble with lasting power than any other thing. So yeah, a lot of the times I find drugstore eyeshadows fade, but these don't at all. And then this one here is more of a pinky tone, and this is in the shade Zinc About You. They have other deeper tones. I just kind of like these pop of lighter metallics on my lid. These were $5, so, and that's Canadian, so I don't know about in the US, they're probably a little bit cheaper, but so affordable and really just an amazing formula. I think they're so good. These last two things are just kind of like shout outs. I haven't used them a ton, but the times I use them, I really enjoyed them. So this is also from Essence. This is the Pure Nude Spacelighter. I actually had the original Pure Nude highlighter in Be My Highlight, and I didn't like it. A lot of people loved it, but it wasn't for me. This is like a holographic duochrome shifting one, so it has a little bit of that purple shift to it, and it looks really good on the skin. Alex actually gave me this for Christmas as well. I've only had the opportunity to wear this maybe once or twice, but I did use it in like a look where it was very appropriate to use a holographic highlighter, and I just loved the way it looked on my cheek. It really did meld into the skin really well, even better I think than a swatch does, and I just loved it because I could buff it in and it really kind of looked like my skin, but like a duochrome. It was really cool. And then also this product here, I just love for the scent. I don't often use a hydrating spray because I need a mattifying setting spray, but this one, the Photofocus Coconut 3-in-1 Primer Water, I just love the scent of it. Yeah, it's so good. So if you ever purchased the Fix Plus from MAC in the coconut scent, which I did and I loved, when they first came out, they were only in the minis, and they came out for Christmas and were limited edition, and I loved that thing. I used it all up. It was so good. And then I haven't repurchased the full size in the coconut, but I might eventually. But I just love the scent of this. And this is definitely the kind of thing where if you're powdery and you want to like have your makeup kind of melt together, this is something good to do that with. It's just like a regular hydrating setting spray. I don't think it is a Fix Plus, like it doesn't have that same kind of glycerin-y feeling to it. It's not as magical as Fix Plus, but it's nice, and I really love the scent of this. So you guys, that is it for all of my recent drugstore favorites. As you can tell, these are really favorites. I've been using them a lot, and I really love them to death. So everything will be listed down below if you missed anything or if you want to use this video as a reference. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Definitely subscribe if you're new around here, and I hope that you're speaking kindly to yourself today, especially when you look in the mirror. I love you guys. I will see you in my next video. Bye.